Thanks, Kristen. Good evening, everyone. Welcome council staff and delegates and residents to the regular council meeting for Tuesday, February the 3rd, 2026, and we are being streamed live. I'll call the meeting to order with the land acknowledgement. We are meeting today on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Huron-Wendat, Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee peoples. We acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resources contained within. We honor their cultures and celebrate their commitment to this land. We would also like to acknowledge the Mohawk and Algonquin nations, whose traditional and unceded territory we are gathered upon today. Hastings County is situated on treaty land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. Next on the agenda, I need a motion that the agenda for the regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Marmora Lake for Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026 be approved as presented. And I have a mover and a seconder. Ron, second Eric. Any discussion on the agenda? Jane?
In reviewing the agenda and the items in the closed agenda, I make a motion that the last item, sorry, the last item be taken out of the closed agenda and moved to the open agenda.
Is that legal? Kristen, I need your direction on that. Is there a seconder for that motion? Is there a seconder for that motion?
I don't think I can discuss it until we get a motion to put it on the floor. Is that true, Kristen? Okay.
Any further comments, questions on that motion?
Well, no, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so according to the Municipal Act 239, there is nothing in the item that falls into the parameters of 239. And if I may, I'll read the parameters. A part of a meeting may be closed to the public if the subject matter being considered is a security of the property of the municipality or local board, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, labor relations or employee negotiations, litigation or potential litigation involving matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, a matter in respect of which a council, board, committee, or other body may hold a closed meeting under another act, information explicitly supplied in confidence to the municipality or local board by Canada or province or territory or Crown agency or any of them, Crown agency of any of them, a trade secret or scientific, technical, commercial, financial, or labor relations information supplied in confidence to the municipality or local board, which, if disclosed, could reasonably be expected to prejudice significantly the competitive position or interfere significantly with the contractual or other negotiations of a person, group, or persons or organization, a trade secret or scientific, technical, commercial, or financial information that belongs to the municipality or local board and has a monetary value or potential monetary value, or a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or institution to be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or the local board. Having reviewed the item to be just discussed and suggested and closed, I see nothing in here that would allow us to discuss that in a closed meeting.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mike.
I'm just baffled because I don't have all this information in front of me. And if you were going to ask this question, why you would not have posed this ahead of time so that we could be prepared to discuss it? Because right now I haven't got a clue about what you're talking about or what's going on. I find it very inconsiderate to bring something up like this at this point in time without giving the clerk, the CAO, or any other member on council any warning of what you were doing. I'm voting no just because I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry.
Any further comments? Ron?
Just another question. We're talking about this closed agenda.
Yes, yes,
Okay.
and all I read is the municipal act. This was not on the agenda. This is just supporting my motion. I'm just going off the item on the agenda.
That's right. It's your motion that I'm objecting to. Why you wouldn't have asked people or told people ahead of time instead of bringing up now and blindsiding everybody.
Go ahead, Ron.
Just another question. If we don't do it there, when will we do it? In this agenda? Will it move from this agenda to this agenda, or how does that look?
Well, it would have to be taken from the closed agenda and put somewhere on the open agenda to be
That's
discussed.
what I mean, like will that happen tonight, or will that be to another meeting, or I'm just confused.
No, it would be on this agenda.
Okay.
Go ahead, Eric.
I don't support it being on this agenda, moving out of closed. The public has a right to see that information and to pull it from closed to discuss it today in open session. The public hasn't had access to that information or opportunity to provide comment yet to council or any of us here. So just my opinion is if it's coming off the closed agenda, it needs to be deferred so that the public can also see the information. At this point, it's hard to talk about it because it is on the closed agenda.
Thanks, Eric. Anything further? If not, I'll call to a vote. All in favor of the motion? Again, all in favor of the motion? That motion is defeated. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? Being none, the mayor's report is next on the agenda. January 20th, I returned from the Roma conference in Toronto. At 5:30 that day, I chaired the planning committee meeting and the regular meeting of Marmor Lake Council. January 21st, I attended the Hastings County Planning Committee and Finance, Property and Personnel Committee meetings in Belleville. January the 26th, I chaired a special closed meeting of council. January 27th, CAO Conley and I attended a meeting in Havelock with the mayor and deputy mayor of Havelock, Belmont, Methuen to discuss the maintenance agreement for Van Sickle Road. At 12 o'clock that day, Nancy Sinclair, treasurer, and I participated in the Central Hastings Support Network Rural Transit Partners meeting at their offices in Madoc. Transit ridership for the months of October, November, December 2025 for Marmor Lake was 739 specialized and conventional rides. After that meeting, I traveled to Kingston for the Southeast Health Unit meeting. January the 28th, I chaired the first part of the Southeast Health Unit meeting, including the election of the new chair, Warden Nathan Townend. You may have heard on the radio or read in the newspaper that I did not seek re-election as the chair. January the 29th, I attended Hastings County Council in Belleville. February the 2nd, I had telephone meetings with the Southeast Health Board members and CAO Conley. And February the 3rd today is Marmor and Lake Council. Thank you. Next on our agenda are our delegations. And I would just like to remind you that you have 15 minutes. Lindsay Nash from Quinte Conservation. Hi, Lindsay. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Okay. My name is Lindsay. I'm the Outreach and Stewardship Coordinator at Quinte Conservation. I am here, I'm on the third week. I'm here today proposing to obtain council support to apply as the lead for the Green Municipal Fund and Growing Canada's Community canopies. I'm going to refer to this as the GMFGCCC fund moving forward. So Quinte Conservation alongside the Quinte Urban Forest Network are proposing to be the lead applicant for the GMFGCCC fund. By doing this, we are providing our 18 member municipalities the option to leverage funding and staff support for planting projects, both existing and proposed, as long as the trees aren't in the ground by the time we receive our funding. As the lead, Quinte Conservation will focus on planting a diverse range of native tree and shrub species. I'm on slide 5. Yep, thank you. Funding opportunities are for long-term and permanent forestry intention, and it includes quite a wide range of project types, including street tree planting, urban planting, park tree planting, riparian planting, forest restoration, and reforestation both on public or private lands within your municipality. So projects that are not eligible include projects that propose to transition healthy natural wetlands and grassland ecosystems into forests. These are already thriving, functioning ecosystems on their own. So we're just mostly looking for areas that have previously been disturbed that could benefit from tree planting. A maintenance plan and survival assessment report are required following each project, which may make the community trees giveaway ineligible for this grant specifically. So moving on. Next one. So my timeline is this February, I've been going to our 18 municipal councils to obtain support at their February meetings. Quinte Conservation can only apply for this fund with support of council since it is a Green Municipal Fund grant. Even if your municipality or your municipal staff aren't interested in participating in this program, by having the support of council, it basically unlocks that funding for other groups that want to do tree planting in your municipality. So that could be Quinte Conservation, schools, churches, scouts, any sort of other group if it's not quite the right fit for your municipality. So it does unlock the door for many different groups to access this funding. So by the end of March, I'm going to put as a deadline for municipalities to respond to me with what they would like to do that fits with their municipality, as well as other interest groups, along with a general project outline of what they'd like to do. By the end of April, Quinte Conservation will formally apply for the fund with a professionally reviewed planting plan and an urban forestry grant coach that's provided by the funders. So there's about a 6 to 8 month waiting period after applying for the funding, which puts us at tree planting for fall 2026 or spring 2027. Now, after receiving the funding approval, we have a period of up to 2 years to actually do the planting. So if we don't really have to rush. And then in 2027 and 2028, we would be looking at maintaining and monitoring the trees that have been planted. Next slide. Quinte Conservation is expecting and working with municipal partners and private interest groups, a letter of support from council, which is what I'm after here tonight, a financial contribution of 50%. So I'm not necessarily asking for money from council. I'm looking to match what you're already doing and what you've already budgeted, or match funding that private interest groups have already raised. So let's say there's a church that wants to do $1,000 worth of tree planting. We want to match that and make that 2,000. Or if your municipal staff have $1,000 for park planting, we want to give them 2. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel, and we're not asking you for funding. Further, we'd be looking for a tree planting budget with a source of funding identified, identification of existing and proposed programs or projects that you'd like to do tree planting, and then identification of sites where an increase in tree canopy would be beneficial, either on private or public lands, and any data or current tree canopy studies to support or identify the need for trees. Now, this would obviously vary based on the information that your municipality already has or how much you'd like to participate. In exchange, Quinte Conservation will coordinate administrative and logistical aspects of the application. We will assist with leveraging additional funding where possible. We will act as a liaison between the municipalities, local interest groups, and the funders, and we will be submitting the final reporting. So on the next slide, I've highlighted the financial details for this grant. So it's a 50% match cost share grant with a minimum project cost of $50,000. Now, I realize you probably don't have $50,000 budgeted in your municipal budget for tree planting. So that's why I'm approaching our 18 municipalities to bring down that threshold. So then each of our municipalities can potentially access this grant by pooling our funds, as well as our private interest groups as well. Like the Quinte Field Naturalists have a couple $1,000s, a school has a couple $1,000s, all of that gets pulled together. So then we can bring that threshold down and everybody can access the funding. The funders did want me to let you know that there is a maximum of $10 million that we can access between now and 2031. So, so half the budget would be covered by the GMF fund, and the other half could come from municipal budget, private interest groups, other grants, as long as they're not funded by the 2 Billion Trees program or Trees Canada. That's where the funding for this grant comes from, and you can't double up. You can't do 50% from each. Any other fundraising or other types of financial contributions are fair game. So what you can do is you can increase your municipal budget or increase the amount of trees that you were going to plant, or but you can't replace your municipal tree planting budget. So if you've already budgeted for $1,000, you can't like split the difference at 500 and then we can only double it. And then your tree planting program to engage with this grant cannot be part of any legal tree planting requirements. So if you have a bylaw that says if you cut down a tree, you have to replace it, that wouldn't be eligible. So on the next slide, I get into some of the reasons why planting trees are beneficial. So planting trees creates climate resiliency through flood retention, which is one of the main reasons why Quinte Conservation is so interested in planting trees. But it also reduces carbon dioxide from the air and produces oxygen, which is good for physical health. Planting trees reduces heat island effects in urban areas and cools buildings in the summer with shade and provides a windbreak to buildings in the winter. Connecting with nature improves your mental health. And then by planting a diverse native tree species, it promotes healthy soils and habitat for a wide range of insects, birds, and mammals that are specific to this area. By implementing a watershed-wide tree planting initiative through different levels of partnership, we can create capacity for the community to work together while supporting climate resilience close to home. This closely aligns with Quinte Conservation's vision to advance watershed knowledge and collective actions to strengthen our natural ecosystems. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? For Lindsay, go ahead, Ron.
You mentioned $50,000 was the minimum project cost. So what's the deadline? Like, how long do you have? And you probably said when we have to get, like, when will you know you have enough? Like, when would we know you have the 50,000 or more? So we could, how much we have to help, I guess is what I'm at.
Well, basically you tell me what you're interested in and we'll pool everyone together here in March, April is when I'm going to be really working on this and connecting to all the municipalities and then putting a call to the public to see where their interest lies. I am not too worried about the $50,000. Yeah, like I'm feeling calm, I guess. I can't guarantee it, but I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Well, you answered my question. Thank you.
Yes, okay.
Go ahead, Eric.
If the municipality itself isn't a participant, how do you plan to engage with local community groups so that they can take advantage and raise awareness about the program so they know about access to it?
Well, we were gonna use Quinny Conservation's communications team. We already have a following. We're connecting with all the municipalities within our watershed. So we already have a whole department that does what they can to connect with the public. And then if your communications staff are able to help give us a hand by spreading the word into the community, that would be appreciated.
Go ahead, Eric.
And through the chair to staff, have we consulted with Parks and Recreation on this program yet to see if there's any local green spaces or area in the municipality that might be a good fit?
So through you, Chair to Councilor Dow, I have not, but I can certainly follow up on that conversation. I think Lindsay and I were playing telephone tag last week with my schedule not being compatible, but I can certainly do that.
Any other questions? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I thought I forwarded this on about whenever Lindsay sent it out 3 or 4 weeks ago to Jeff and John and other interested parties regarding that. If I didn't, I apologize, but I'm sure I sent it on to Jeff so that he would be aware of it. Like what Ron was saying, you know, we can get other groups. We just have to promote it. And if anybody else in the community wants to put their money in, clubs or scouts or even farmers or anybody who has land that wants to plant trees on it, it's a good way to double up your money. And we could discuss it more at budget time, which is coming up in another week or two. If we could set aside some extra money, because the money we set aside for the tree giveaway is not counted. Like she said, if you've already budgeted for something, it has to be new money coming in. So we'd have to set aside another 1,000 or 2 or something to go to this plan too.
Thanks, Mike. I think, John, you wanted to speak.
So through you to the deputy, again, if that email, it was entitled tree giveaway. So if I misconstrued or not brought things together that should have been brought together, that's on, so I do apologize, but I will have that discussion.
I think I heard you say, Lindsay, that you're looking for a letter of, or a motion of support tonight. And then the other component of it could be referred to Parks Department for their input. Is that doable, John?
I did provide in the appendix that I sent along, Appendix A, there's a sample letter in the very, very last page.
So that could be what we would use. Is that doable?
Page 19 in the agenda package.
Sorry?
Through you, it's page 19 in the agenda package. That would be the template.
Okay, Eric? Okay, good. Okay,
Okay, I'll put a motion forward on this, I guess, to direct staff to complete the letter of support for Quinty Conservation's application to the Green Municipal Fund on behalf of Marmor Lake.
thanks, Eric. Second, Ron, you had your hand up. Anything further, Mike?
No, I was just seconding Eric.
Any other comments? All in favor of that motion? That's carried. Thank you. Thank you, Lindsay.
Great, thank you very much.
Right, through you, Mayor, I just wanted to ask a question, is definitely can work off the template. I can also talk to Lindsay in terms of any future stuff. Is there a dollar amount that wants to be assigned to that council wants to do now, or is that something through the budget delivery?
I myself, I think Eric mentioned it through budget.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next delegate is Patrick Hull. Great. How do you say it? Sorry? Oh, okay. I'll remember that. No, I will now. Regarding the this is regarding Marmora and Lake Public Library. And it's the 2026 draft budget presentation. Go ahead, Patrick.
Sure. Thank you for allowing me to speak today. Yes, I'm Patrick Will. I'm the vice chairman of the board of the library for Marmora and Lake. And what I'm hoping to do today is just illuminate a few things that the library has done in 2025 before we get into our 2026 projections and the requests we're going to make from the municipality. First of all, I guess, okay, yeah. So on page 2 or the second slide, we just list the sort of in-house activities that went down in 2025. 11,000 plus books checked out, 5,000 plus DVDs checked out. Libby downloads, if you're curious, it's the online library reader check-in and check-out system. So over 5,400 books taken out that way. The computers are used endlessly. The library itself ran 53 different unique programs with over 3,400 participants in 2025. And we increased our number of library card holders to over 1,000. And then some more fancy stuff for the online people who get into that kind of thing. 43,000 plus engagements with the library online. So that can be a catalog search, that can be a Facebook hit, that can be just a visit to the website, anything like that. So it's being noticed. 500 interlibrary loans, that's books that get shipped either to our library or from our library to our partner libraries in the area. Facebook posts and Instagram posts, because the kids love that stuff. And 5,500 visits, again, to the website to check out various things, the online catalog, the archives. There's lots of material there that people can check out. And 345 new members. So that's people who register their name with the library online. Okay. Anybody want to talk about any of that before we get into 2026? Fantastic. So in the fourth slide talks about our expenses from 2025 and what we project them to be for 2026. And really the important things to look at are like the 53.3% increase in the audit service is simply because that's what they charge us. We don't have a choice there. That's the invoice we get from, I believe, the municipality, and we pay that part of things, or they audit us and we pay for that. The programming costs are up 36.4%, but that just amounts to $400. We hope to run more programs, duplicate the successful programs we did in 2025, and bearing those costs go up and things like that. We try not to put the onus on the kids for cooking programs and things like that. It's something that the library feels that we should cover to get kids into the library, to interest them in the things that we're trying to put on. And a cost can be detrimental to that in certain instances. So any questions on that? I love you
No,
guys.
go ahead.
Okay, sources of revenue. The one column I would like to highlight is the column called type. Because in all of those, there is only one self-generated revenue stream for the library. It makes very little in terms of what we need to operate. So I would like everyone to bear that in mind when we talk about the other type of money that comes into the library. The provincial operating, it's called the PLOG, the Provincial Libraries Operating Grant, $10,621. It's been a constant for the first few years, and we don't expect that to change or to disappear. The Canada Summer Jobs Grant of $2,000 pays for our summer student. We have to apply for it every year. We don't really see any reason why we wouldn't receive it in 2026. And our summer students tend to be fantastic. If you come in, they run the programs, they're very helpful. The girl who is in 2025 is going to fricassee me because I can't remember her name. It starts with an S. I want to say Sydney, but that's wrong. Skylar, a voice from the stands. So yeah, Skylar was fantastic. And what you find with those summer students is they really get into what the library does and working with the kids and the people and things like that. So the summer jobs program is very important to us. The Friends of the Library is a private group of citizens that help us out with things like the book sale and things like that. General donations is just people who help out. One example would be the lunch bowl program that we run, which serves a free hot lunch to anybody who comes in through the doors on Tuesdays between 12 and 2. We've been doing that program for 2+ years. And today we actually had over 40, which I believe is a record now. So 40 unique individuals came in, had a soup, had a sandwich, enjoyed live music for the first time, thanks to community care in Hastings. And that program is self-sustaining. We with the donations that come in for that program, that is one of the programs that we do not charge anybody for. They can come in and all donations are voluntary, but we've always been in the black with that one. So that's just one example of money that's coming into the library that we hope continues, and in the right arena, programs can turn over and be self-sustaining. Like many of the library programs are fixed time periods. And so this is just an example of a weekly thing that's been going on since November of 2023. And then the pay equity and the HST rebate, that's just government stuff that we apply for, but it's standard paperwork. It's not a question of whether or not we will get it, which leaves the local operating grant, which is the municipality. In 2025, our request was $112,155 based on our projected expenses and what we expect to bring in. We're respectfully requesting just a little less than $115,000. That will produce a net gain of 0 should all our projections be exact. With any luck, we make a little extra in the donations pile or have some money left over, which can then be put in the bank and used towards other things or used to enhance existing programming. Slide 6 is exactly what I just said, only a little less flour.
Thank you. And first of all, thanks very much to all the volunteers that make our library programs the success that they are. Thank you for your personal contributions.
Everybody's great. We have
Yeah.
we have a ton of volunteers that help out in so many capacities, and we need them. The people coming and going, they wouldn't believe the range of requests of help that people seek.
Thank you all for the time that you donate to these programs. Any questions for Patrick? Go ahead, Ron.
No question, just a comment, same as yours. I'm amazed at programs that the library has. Made the library, right? But there's so much going on in there that I'm amazed. Pretty good work.
As libraries go, well, speaking from my own experience, I moved to Marmora in 2022. And I came from Kitchener-Waterloo, and the Kitchener-Waterloo area has a number of branch libraries and 2 main libraries that are huge. And they're very antiseptic that way. They're very office-like, very, they're staff, they're behind desks. You want something, you go and speak to them and they point and you go and deal with it yourself. And so when I moved here and the first weekend that we were here, I went into the library and it was real people. There was real people sitting at the computers, and the staff would come and Kathy was Kathy was there. And I believe her name was Megan. But they got out from behind the desk and talked to people, and the number of things that people were asking for help for were incredible. It wasn't just, can you help me find this book? It was, I can't log in to my Gmail account, or how can I print this tax document or anything like that? And it was just unbelievable. So I was like, sign me up. I became a volunteer that day. And since then, I've been into the library on average like 2-3 times a week. And everybody there who goes into the library comes from all kinds of walks of life. They walk, they drive, they bike in this weather just to get to the library. It's where they need to be. And we got it. Those doors have to be open because that's how they get through the day. And I didn't realize that that was how important a library could be until I saw it. And then I became part of it. And I don't know that I would ever want to let it go. So
Thank you. I think, Mike, I think before I lost her on the, go ahead, Mike.
I just want to thank you for coming in and doing the presentation. We've learned a lot. We knew, I do believe most of us knew that you did a lot of programming and things like that just from the internet and talking to people. But it's great that you can come in, talk to council, tell us what you did, tell us how things are going. I think it's fabulous. I just really do. I don't get down to the library very often, but I constantly use Libby for the downloads on the books and things like that. So I'm probably a constant user of the library, but I'm not physically there. So I do use it. But all the different things that you do, it's more than just a library. It's a community space. It's helping people. It's getting things done. It's making life good in Marmora. That's all I can say. I just thank you for coming in and doing the presentation. I know you're asking for money, but I think this is a great job of just coming in and showing everybody what does happen at the library.
Thanks, Mike. Anything further, Eric?
Yeah, thank you, Patrick, for coming in and sharing this collection of stats. It definitely speaks to all the services that the library provides to our community. One of the numbers that really jumped off the page for me here was 345 new members. In perspective, that is really good growth for a library of that size, and it speaks to the personality our library has, and that's kind of what you were touching on, that it's not a sterile place. We have real people in there, and they make a difference. So I applaud the library for how efficient they are with the money that they do have in spending that and making it go the extra mile, doing an excellent job on communications to the public and raising awareness about that programming, and then the quality of programming that they provide to the community. It's invaluable.
thank you.
Thanks, Eric. Jane?
First of all, I echo the sentiments as expressed by my fellow councilors. I think the library is very good for the community. However, we also have a community that is financially challenged in some of our people. So I just have a couple of questions, if I may, please. When the budget was prepared, or sorry, let me back up. In October 21, 2025, your 2024 year-end budget was, or your year-end financials were presented, and you had a bank balance of $41,829. When the budget was prepared, was there any consideration for that money sitting in the bank account?
In terms of substituting some of our municipal ask
Yes.
for
Yes.
actual funds? No.
Okay. What will you be using the $41,000 for?
Well, first of all, I don't know that it would be my job to say what that $41,000 is going to go to in the future. I would say that, and sorry, the date you gave was 25?
October 21st, 2025, with
So-
2024 financials.
Okay, so the 24 financials would have included 5,900 and some dollars that we set aside as a reserved emergency fund to cover things that maybe we needed to pay for right off the hop before, if it was a municipality responsibility, they could reimburse us just to get, say the roof caved in, which we all know the roof got repaired in in good time, or the stairs needed to be replaced because they crumbled. Now the stairs have been fixed, so that's also good. In a global sense, I don't know that having money in the bank is a bad thing. I think that if you look at the slide, I think it's the fourth slide. I highlighted the column that shows that absolutely no money, or virtually no money, that we receive as a library to operate comes from a guaranteed source that we can be assured will be there next year or the year after. We come to this meeting today, hat in hand, explaining what we need from our municipality. And if the municipality deems it necessary to say, you know what, we have to spend money elsewhere. So while we appreciate you need $115,000, we can only do 105. Then we're going to be very happy that we have that money in the bank. I also would question the fiscal responsibility of any entity that shoots for a bank balance of zero simply because they rely on donations and grants to operate. So I think that while we may not have set plans for the 40 Gs, I don't know that having 40 Gs in the bank on the day in question is a bad thing for the library. I think it needs money to be sure of its solvency should the non-guaranteed revenue streams dry up.
Okay. And then my second point, my final point. So I have learned, being a counselor, that a few years back, the accounting for the library was done through the municipality. And then the library wanted to take over the bookkeeping themselves because they wanted their GST rebate. So the library has an audit cost of $4,600, which you're asking the ratepayers to pay for an offset of approximately $1,100. How do you justify taking the bookkeeping back to the library when it's costing the municipality an additional $3,500?
If the municipality didn't require that kind of accounting, then I suppose we wouldn't have to do it. But because the municipality requires the audit to be done, and we have to pay for it, it's part of our ask.
Right. So
Should the council say, you know what, we're going to take that $4,600, and if you feel that because we took the accounting back, as you say, that we should also pay for its audit, then that 40 grand we had is going to come in handy.
Thank you.
that's all I have
Anything
for questions.
further? Anything further? Anyway, thank you very much. And again, thank you, volunteers. Please spread the word at your meeting because volunteers are truly appreciated. I think, John?
If I may, Chair, I think the presentation was also in support of a resolution or a motion about approval of the budget.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, if I may, Chair, I think the presentation was part of a precursor for looking for a resolution or direction of approval of the budget as presented by
Okay,
Mr. Gould.
okay. Anyone want to make that motion? Go ahead, Ron. Is there a seconder? Eric? Anything further on that motion? Go ahead, Jane.
I would like to, I think that we have, like I said, ratepayers in the municipality that are experiencing a pinch. And I think it would go a long way to reduce their budget by $20,000 and swing that to something else, that the police services fund or something. I'm not saying, as Patrick alluded to, I'm not saying reduce the cash balance to zero, but I'm saying offset the budget a bit to help to help with the budget and to help our ratepayers because it's a big pill to swallow.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Go ahead, Mike.
I wouldn't be in favor of reducing it at all. Because I know we're trying to help our ratepayers, but the programs and everything that are put on by the library, the books that are available, the programs that are available are all free or minimal charge. So I don't see that taking away money from somebody who's given some people a little bit of pleasure and kids someplace to go and do things is going to help our community at all. So I would have no intention of reducing their budget 1 cent.
Okay, the motion is to approve the budget as it's been presented. Ron, that was your intention. And Eric, that was you're the second. Anything further? I'll call to a vote. All in favor?
Do we have a recorded vote?
Well, okay. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick. Next on the agenda is public input. Is there anyone here? It's a time set aside on each agenda of each regular meeting to permit anyone in attendance to speak on any issue in this agenda. Public input will be received by council only. Comments or clarification by the public or councilors are permitted. Speakers may not speak disrespectfully of any council member, staff member, or any other person and must not use offensive words or gestures. And there's a 3-minute maximum to speak. Is there anybody that wishes to speak under public input? Can you give the clerk your name, please, and which item it is you're wishing to speak to on the agenda? Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor O'Neill and members of council. My name is Christine Marchment and I live on Big Island Road. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the 16 families who depend on the Cook Road Bridge for emergency access. This issue is outlined in our correspondence for direction, which is on today's agenda. The Cook Road Bridge is the only access point for emergency services such as fire trucks and ambulances to reach the 16 families who reside on Big Island Road. Many of those families who rely on this bridge are permanent residents, including some of whom have young children, some of which are elderly, and others that have health consequence or significant health issues of consequence. Ensuring emergency access is not just a matter of convenience. It could potentially be a matter of life and death. Underneath the bridge on either side, the abutments are failing. A structural engineer first identified this problem in 2023. A follow-up assessment in July of 2025 confirmed that the deterioration is ongoing. The engineer's warning was clear. Without immediate repair, erosion may compromise the end supports and the bridge may fail. We have a contractor standing by to start on February 9th and a work permit in hand, but a funding deadlock in the Road Association has stalled the work. We have a very narrow window to get the work done. It can only be done when the water is low or the lake is frozen. If we miss the current window, we cannot attempt the repairs until late summer or fall. The engineer has stated that the abutments may not survive the high water levels of the spring thaw or spring rain. If the bridge fails or becomes unsafe for fire trucks, 16 families will be cut off from emergency services. We are doing our best to maintain the road and the bridge privately. However, the municipality's support in issuing an administrative order would enable the Road Association to successfully maintain the bridge long-term. It is important to note that we are not asking the municipality for any money or for it to take control of the bridge. We are simply asking for direction to ensure it remains safe and accessible. Under the Fire Protection and Prevention Act, it is my understanding that the municipality and the fire chief have the authority and the responsibility to issue an order to comply for conditions that hinder fire protection. We respectfully ask council to direct the fire chief to issue such an order to ensure that the Cook Road Bridge remains accessible for emergency services without interruption, such as to prevent a potentially catastrophic situation.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? Go ahead, Ron.
We can do that in this part.
You can
Ask
ask for clarification.
Well, I just want to ask a question, not clarification.
Well, you can, it's on the agenda
Yeah.
later, so you can do it there.
So in your report, in this report from the engineer,
Mhm.
he states that the bridge is compromised,
Yes,
but currently it's 30 tons.
yes.
How long has it been 30 tons and has it always been 30 tons?
2007 is when it was rated?
So it's never been derated yet.
No.
It's usually in our experience, when our bridges start to deteriorate,
Mhm.
we drop the load limit.
Right.
And 30 tons is a pretty good load limit for a small bridge like that. And the other comment, not a question, is I know I talked to the fire chief about this and he said their heaviest truck loaded with water is 22 tons. So he feels confident at that load limit rating, not knowing the bridge, of course,
Yep.
that he feels confident he'd go across that in terms of, in case of a fire. So
Correct.
I'm just wondering, excuse me, when these deficiencies happen, why the load limit isn't reducing? That's my question. I guess that would be to your engineer, but I'm wondering, like 30 tons is a pretty good load limit
Absolutely.
for a private bridge.
Absolutely. And it's not the bridge itself, like the structural steel components of the bridge are still intact and can hold the 30-ton. It's the erosion on either end. So that's what needs to be fixed. And I don't know if that has a tonnage. I mean, when you're talking erosion, if you have a heavy rain, it can all wash away.
He should take that into consideration. I would think that he would look at that. Anyway, I just want clarification on the 30 tons.
Yep.
And just make a comment on our fire chief's commenting.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ron. Anything further on clarification on that presentation, Mike?
This is not a technical question. It's just one of people. If this bridge is in such bad shape, and I have no doubt to believe, not to believe you with the engineer's report, why is your roads council not going ahead and fixing it? Like, what is the holdup? Why? Just this doesn't make sense to me. If it's that bad a shape and the people that are supposed to be taking care of the road, why are they just not levying everybody on the road and fixing it? Like, why does it have to come to us and take this amount of work to get something that, if it's so obvious, needs to be done right away? I just don't understand.
Mike, can we hold on to that question until we come to that point in the agenda?
Sure, that'd be fine, Mayor.
That's public input, so it's really just for clarification. So we'll just hold on to that, park that thought till we get to that point in the agenda. Thank you for your
Thank you.
presentation. Is there anyone else? Yeah.
Mayor O'Neill and members of council, thanks for allowing me to speak today. My husband and I, Matt Noble, and I'm Kim Aldred, and we are homeowners, new homeowners on Big Island Road. I'm here today because Big Island Bridge is the only way that I can reach my property. There is no secondary route unless I go by water, and no back way in, no plan B. If the bridge becomes impassable, I'm effectively stranded. This situation goes beyond personal convenience. It's about the fundamental viability of my home. I'm specifically concerned about 3 critical areas. One being emergency services. I want to make sure that there's access for fire trucks and ambulance and police to come across if one of my neighbors has an emergency. Essential utilities. I rely on propane to be delivered to my home. We have a lot of ice storms where hydro comes across to fix hydro lines that come from Terrace Roadway. I want to make sure those repairs can be taken place. And then financial and insurance risk. If we don't have fire protection, then my insurance is compromised and I will lose my home insurance. We have invested our life savings in our property, and we have now a lot of risk. Unfortunately, this isn't about a private disagreement anymore. I'm asking for some intervention before a known risk turns into a situation that puts residents in danger and leaves us without options. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any points of clarification for Kim? Okay, thank you, Kim. Anyone else wish to speak under public input? Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the adoption of the minutes of the regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Marmorant Lake held Tuesday, January the 20th, 2026, be approved as presented. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Ron, second Jane. Any comments on those minutes? Being none, all in favor? That's carried. Next is the minutes of the special regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Marmorant Lake held Monday, January 26th, 2026. And the recommendation is that the foregoing minutes of the special regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Marmorant Lake held Monday, January 26th, 2026 be approved as presented. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Eric? Second, Ron? Any discussion on those minutes? Eric?
Through the chair to staff, this Kubota new sidewalk plow, has this now been delivered?
Through your worship, to Councillor Dow, yes, it has been delivered and is in operation right now.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you. Anything further? Being none. Next is committee and board reports of the Eastern Ontario Trails Alliance. Oh, sorry. All in favor of those minutes? That's carried. Thanks, Eric. Eastern Ontario Trail Alliance, and the recommendation is that the foregoing minutes and reports of the committees and boards listed are hereby received for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Eric? Second? Ron? Any discussion on the EOTA minutes? Go ahead, Eric.
Just for information, one of the highlights from this set of minutes, the Eastern Ontario Trails Alliance board right now is made up of municipal representatives from not just Hastings County, but other areas that the trail serves as well. The board has agreed to take on a representative from the Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Clubs. And the motive there is to work towards better collaboration between multi-use ATV use of the EOTA users, as well as the users of the snowmobile during the winter season who have a shared use agreement to use those trails. So there's always a lot of disagreements between many user groups there. So we're hoping that this will help both parties communicate and the trail system benefit as a result.
Thank you, Eric. Anything further on those minutes? All in favor? That's carried. Next is correspondence for direction. Correspondence from Cheryl Leonard regarding the provincial government water projects, and staff are looking for directions. So can we have some discussion on the letter, and then go ahead, Eric.
Sure, I'll make a motion to put this letter on the floor. That council received the correspondence letter from resident Cheryl Leonard for information, and further that council directs staff to include a grant and funding applied for summary section on the monthly CAO report.
Can I get a seconder for that motion? Ron? Any discussion? Go ahead, Eric.
I guess so, through the chair to staff, I guess the first question primarily here that Ms. Leonard has is, did the municipality apply for this funding that our neighbors have got through the municipal housing infrastructure program?
Do you want to speak to that, Nancy, please? Or John?
So through your chair to Councillor Dow, my understanding is no, we have not, and certainly not in my time in terms of being the CEO. So in the last 14 months, prior to that, I'm not aware of anything with respect to making applications for those before. That said, for the type of announcements that have been going forward, this would be very similar to what Marmorant Lake got in 2020, 2021 with the new standpipe. So the amount of background work and study that has to go into it is with respect to looking at planning, looking at managing, planning for growth, looking at that, and then looking at water, wastewater, our existing infrastructure, and making sure that the growth that we anticipate over the next 20, 25 years, that the infrastructure that is there to support that growth. I would say that I certainly support going forward doing that. But in this particular last iteration, it's not at a point where I certainly didn't bring it forward, but it's something we would be conscious of that. I would remind council that we have a zoning bylaw that's 2003, an urban community secondary plan, which is 2017, and an official plan that needs to be updated. All those would be components of providing a comprehensive view of not just the current situation, but also future growth scenarios. And then what would happen would be water, wastewater reports. These other jurisdictions that are doing that, they have a number of different mechanisms and other growth pressures. So they are the different part of their maturity as a municipality, but notwithstanding the amount of money that would be required to do those background studies in order to be eligible for these cost sharing provincial grants.
Thank you, John. I just want to say that I guess I get, some information through Hastings County on this sort of thing, but I can tell you that our neighbors, Center Hastings, they spent $250,000 on a study in order to be able to apply and qualify for this grant. And in addition to that, if they, like the grant is, I believe, Nancy, correct me if I'm wrong, 28%. Is that the funding formula?
Yes, it's approximately 30% that the municipality has to come up with.
So they have to come up with the 30% as well as the $250,000 to produce the studies just to get the province to even look at the applications. So I just wanted to clarify that. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, sorry, to continue on here. Since this letter had been received by staff, there was also several other funding announcements that happened from our neighbors. Both Bancroft and Deseronto got funds. Tweed, Center Hastings, Sterling, Napanee. Total for these funds of $29 million. So the funds are out there, but they're only as good as we're applying for. And I think that's the bigger theme, specifically of this correspondence, that we need to be taking advantage of this funding. It's not just this municipal housing infrastructure program funding. There's other funding that's out there. And I would draw attention to several programs that, to my understanding, we haven't applied for. The Canada Summer Jobs Program, Community Emergency Preparedness Grant, Eastern Ontario Development Fund, the Ontario Trillium Grant, Rural Ontario Development Program, the ROD program. There's site readiness programs for industrial property. There's green municipal funding available from the province for retrofitting. These are all programs that our neighbors have taken advantage of and secured funding. So I think it's important that we keep those on the radar and apply where appropriate.
Thanks, Eric. Go ahead, Mike.
I agree with what everybody's saying, but we don't know how many years these municipalities have been applying for these funds to get them this year. They've probably been applying for the last 5 years, 6 years or more. And we did get funding, I do believe, you could correct me, but we went from Maloney Boulevard and put on all new water mains and sewer mains running along parallel to Highway 7, I don't believe to the Ultramar, about 3 years ago. So that was on top of that. The other thing is we have to need the funds too. So we have to have a project for sewer and water that needs to be done. If we don't have a need for it, they're not going to give us any funding. So, it's a case of working out what we want, what we need, especially because they don't want to just give us money. And then we have to, like you were talking about, we have to get all the engineering studies done. We have to do that. And then we just have to keep applying. I know the funding for the Maloney Boulevard one, Highway 7, I believe we applied for that for at least 6 years before we finally got it. So just because they got money this year, that doesn't mean they applied for it this year. That could have been applied for 5 years ago and continuously applied for it going forward. But we do need to get out there and take advantage of it. And I definitely think we got to take advantage of the students in the summer. All you hear on the news is all the students say they can't get a job out there in the summertime. I know we had 3 openings on the roads last year, and we never had, I don't even know if we had anybody apply for them. So I'm not sure whether the news is correct or we're just too picky?
I think we didn't get the funding for the roads. We got the funding for the tourist center, I believe. We
I
didn't
believe we had for 5 last year,
Yeah, we-
funding for 5.
know for all of those, Mike. And back to the grant money. Also, these municipalities that got funding, for the most part, they have developable land, and the whole momentum here is to get more houses built faster. And we don't have any land in our urban boundaries that would qualify for us to even apply for that funding. So we have to, as John said, we need to update our zoning bylaw. We need to do some of those things in order to even put us in the market for it. They all have like subdivisions and they have to be almost shovel ready to qualify for this funding. So we have some barriers that we need to address. And I think, we're pointed in that direction. So go ahead, John.
So through your chair, just to build on the conversation, absolutely there are opportunities and those are ones we want to take advantage of. There's some background work that needs to happen to get us ready for those, for shovel ready. Some of those other jurisdictions also have other financial tools like development charges, but all those are things to say that yes, there's money out there. I intend to be able to capitalize that. And if it's a matter of providing that on a monthly basis to council in terms of opportunities that are out there, I believe where we can, we will apply for those. And if it is a longer game, we'll start to do the work, the background work in behind to make sure that we're ready for when these opportunities coming. It's a very good discussion and I'm glad we're having it.
So thank you to Cheryl for, pointing this out and bringing it to our attention. And I think that the staff is hearing that we want, grant applications to be somewhat of a priority. But we have to provide the resources for the studies and to get us to that point. So anything further? There's a motion on the floor. Anything further on the motion? All in favor? That's carried. Next is correspondence again, a letter regarding the Big Island Road request. So Mike, you want to repeat your comment that I asked you to park?
Yeah, I just don't understand.
Oh, hang on a minute. Motion.
Excuse me.
You want to put a motion on the floor, Mike?
No, not at this point.
Okay, just hang on a minute then. Eric, do you?
I'll put a motion to get it on the floor that we receive the correspondence for information.
Thank you. Could seconder for that, Ron? Okay, go ahead, Mike. Now it's your turn.
Okay. I just need somebody to explain to me, if this thing is so urgent and has been on the books out there for this long, why the Roads Council of Cook Road is stalling to do it. Is it just a matter of they don't want to charge the money to the residents out there, or what? It's just beyond me. If this is such a dangerous situation and everything, why their own people wouldn't okay it and go ahead with it. I just don't know what to make of the whole thing. And I'd like to know what the legal implications are. If we do an order, are we setting ourselves up to be sued or something by somebody else because come back later and say, oh, it wasn't necessary or didn't need to be done and you made us spend this money? I don't know. I've never seen anything like this. I would assume people would act rationally, and if it was a danger, would fix it, seeing as they seem to have the support of most people out there.
Thanks, Mike. Go ahead, Ron.
All right. Questions to the chair to John. I think you can answer this better, John. Can you help me understand what I lost it on my paper, but what they're asking for, just so I can understand that if it's something we can do to help them, the order. I lost it. What is it called again?
So it would be an order of compliance. It would be an administrative order under the fire protection.
What is that? What does that look like?
I don't know the full answer to that, but what I can do is provide some information with respect to my understanding is that there are between bylaw enforcement, our building folks, and also our fire protection services, emergency services, there are different ranges of authority. under the Fire Protection Act, the fire chief has power to be able to or give you orders to comply with respect to unsafe situations. Things like examples of hoarding, if a fire has happened, if there's been a bad wiring, things like that. Again, we work in teams with respect to building by law enforcement fire to do this. Specifically, I don't have an answer from the fire chief on this. I have reached out to speak to him. I think in this case, what you have is a private association of, I can't remember the full number, but you have people on Cooks Road and then Big Island Road. The issue is the road, and the common elements are the road, Cooks Road, and the bridge itself to Big Island. In this particular case, you have an emergency from an engineering standpoint that this was identified July of last year, and a small window in which to operate. From my perspective, it isn't a municipally maintained road, but at the same time, we want to make sure that there's safety with respect to the safe ingress and egress of emergency services, even if we don't provide other things like waste disposal, waste recycling, that sort of thing. As you would know, we have issues with respect to the bearing of weight of that particular one, of the bridge itself. The rating of 30 tons, again, you provided an answer with the fire chief with respect to a tanker and 22 tons. This matter is, I'm not saying it's not a municipal concern, but it is one that is a discussion of an association that is having varying opinion. It's my understanding that part of it is with respect to what the cost of those individual association members would pay in order to pay the bill, which I understand to be a little bit more than 100 grand, maybe towards 150 for the work that needs to be done to make that bridge safe. So in that respect, from a municipal standpoint, I can certainly have a conversation with the chief, but I also think this is a matter of an association that really has to come to a decision. And my understanding is they'll be having a meeting to come to a decision shortly on this with respect to whether they will or will not support some kind of payment arrangement with respect to each individual member of the association paying towards that larger repair. And I do even understand that perhaps the residents on the island itself have also looked at alternative financial arrangements of being able to come up with something which may make it easier. But again, these are legal matters, discussions amongst the association. I don't believe that's a municipal issue, but in terms of the issue of whether or not the bridge is safe, that's something I can speak to the fire chief about.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, just so on top of that, John, saying that, I wonder if the fire chief was aware of some of these deficiencies. He's not. He just knows it's 30 ton. He just goes across it. So if he was aware of the deficiencies, he may have a different comment to me than he did. Like he looks at it the way it is. You don't see underneath it. So if he's seen the deficiencies, he may say, you know what? I don't feel safe going across that. So I wonder if we should bring him into the conversation and maybe report back to council with his comments.
So through your chair to Councilor Derry, I've already started to bring the chief into it. I will make sure I follow up on that with respect to that. In terms of interpretation of the Fire Protection Act, I have to default to the fire chief and if required, legal counsel as to whether or not this will apply to the particular one. But that said, I have made other inquiries with respect to environmental services with respect to the weight of any garbage trucks. I know that in the winter season, they do not do pickup, but also in terms of E360 and recyclable. So we take the issue very seriously. It is a very serious issue, not something that we don't want to just sort of dismiss, but I'll have further discussions with the chief. My hoping is that with that, I'll engage him with the idea of the timing, and that will maybe be something that will provide assistance to the representation to the Big Island Road residents and the Cooks Road Association. Thank you.
Eric, do you have your hand up?
Yeah, just for clarification. So at this point, we have not got a legal opinion on an order to comply.
Through your chair to Councilor Dow, we have not.
Okay. And do we know whose responsibility it is if the bridge is unsafe? Is the onus on the road association to notify the municipality, or it's on the municipality to be informed of the condition of where they're taking municipal property?
So through your chair to Councilor Dow, I think it's a bit of a chicken and egg discussion here. I think once we become aware of a situation, regardless of how we become aware, It's what did we know? When did we know it? And what do we do with that? And that's the situation here. So from that perspective, now that the municipality is aware and sees of this information, we'll go through what we need to see if it satisfies this. With respect to the onus on a private roads and bridge association, the onus is on them as well from a collective standpoint. This isn't a municipally maintained road, it's a private road and private infrastructure. The municipality does not pay money towards doing that. That said, I believe it's up to that membership in that association to resolve the legal issues and also the repair issue.
Go ahead, Eric.
Through the chair to Councillor Derry, you'd referenced 22 tons. Is that the tanker fully loaded?
The fire chief said they weighed all their vehicles recently because of the Chanik Bridge, so he knows. He wanted to know what the load limits were, so the heaviest truck that he has, I don't know the numbers of them, with full of water is 22 tons. That's what he indicated today to me.
And if I may, along the same inquiry, Councillor Derry, is that for the garbage trucks, in terms of what Kayla had been able to ask from environmental services, they go in there about 17 tons empty and they come out 20 tons if they're full. So again, that 20 to 22 threshold, I think the tanker being full of water, that would be something to be taken into consideration. Again, I will speak to the chief with the idea whether or not this gets to a critical point where an order would have to be issued. Notwithstanding that would just sort of, again, reinforce what we know to be a concern. It may not be fast enough or timely enough because at the end of the day, the decision on what should be done is that of the association.
Thanks, John. Eric, one more?
Yeah, just one other question in regards to, because Big Island Road is splitting Marmor and Havelock, does Havelock provide support services there? Is this something that they would also need to be aware of?
Through your chair to Councillor Dow, I've reached out to Havelock to have that. I don't have a response yet, but I will continue with that.
Thank you. So there's a motion on the floor. Is everybody clear with it, or do you need it read again? Everybody okay? So Eric puts the motion on the floor. Okay. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Next is Crow Valley Conservation Authority, and it's the January municipal brief and the recommendation that council receive it for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Ron and Eric? Any comments? Questions? All in favor? That's carried. Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, Roma 2026 press release. And the recommendation is that council receive the press release for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Mike, second. Jane, any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Next, are there any announcements? Go ahead, Eric.
For information, Saturday, I attended the first virtual Alto Train high-speed rail information session. They provide a lot of information. It was about an hour and a half long, related to background, construction, evaluations being done, environmental considerations, what the consultation steps are, and then the possible both north and south routes. It's definitely beneficial for residents to attend. They can attend virtually. They're definitely providing more information than they originally shared with us when the project was in earlier stages last year when they came forward to council. A reminder, if you don't want to participate virtually, March 5th and March 25th in Madoc, March 5th and March 25th in Sterling. Marmor and Lake residents can attend those in-person consultations to find out more information. This Saturday, February 7th from 1:30 to 3:30, there's free public skating sponsored by Lucas Davies and Val Taylor of Royal LePage Realty. Continued thanks to the businesses that come forward to sponsor and pay for that ice time so that it's free for residents. The Marmor Legion Branch 237 is hosting a Valentine's Day dance with a live band from 7 till 11 p.m. Ron Fudge's Freezing for a Reason Polar Plunge is coming up Sunday, February 15th at Booster Park Lakefront. It's a great cause in support of Marmora Public School and Sacred Heart Public School. That funds raised go towards the Food for Learning programs. The Marmora Lions will be there providing free hot chocolate and chili. Switzer Carty Bus Lines is providing a bus for a warming station and changing. If you want to participate and plunge yourself or sponsor one of the plungers, please reach out to Ron Fudge. The following day on February 16th, the Marmora Lake Community Events Group is hosting a family day at the community center upstairs from 11 till 3. This is a free event for families to attend and participate in face painting, arts and crafts, and lots of other fun games. So I hope to see you there.
Thanks, Eric. I just wanted to say February the 17th, there's a mayor's lunch at the Madoc Community Center, Madoc Township Community Center, and I hope to attend that. It's all the mayors of Hastings County. And budget meetings have been scheduled and will be announced shortly. So next, we're going to convene into closed session. So the recommendation is that council proceed into a closed meeting session at 6:52 PM under the Municipal Act 2001, Section 239(2). B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. D, labor relations or employee negotiations. Regarding policy enforcement. B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. D, labor relations or employee negotiations, Ministry of Labor orders. D, labor relations or employee negotiations regarding union update. B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees regarding the 2026 Senior of the Year nominations. And D, labor relations or employee negotiations regarding recruitment. So can I have a mover and a seconder to go into close? Ron? Mike? All in favor?